This episode is brought to you by SendPro from Pitney Bowes. SendPro has 3 times the features of Stamps.com at 1/3 of the price. Visit pb.com/GFQ to learn more and try it for free for 90 days. After that, you'll get SendPro for only $5 per month. That's pb.com/GFQ. And by Harry's. Stop messing around and get started shaving with Harry's today by claiming your free trial offer. $13 value for free, just cover the shipping by going with harrys.com/whatthetech.
What the tech?
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Agent Zare, and I'm joined by the one, the only Mr. Paul Thurrott. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
You're back to pretty good, huh?
Still have kind of a cold.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take you with a cold. The last month has been miserable for you. Well, last 3 months have been miserable for you.
Yeah, there's no end in sight, too. I've got travel coming up, and there's all kinds of stuff. This just never ends, you know?
Yeah. I'm still in construction hell. We decided that we had to part ways with our contractor.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was not working out. So now I'm finishing the job. Starting Saturday. I have to get this house in order because we have a lot of people coming in the next couple of weeks, and I need to get my life back on track, which is always a very difficult thing when you're doing everything at once. So we're kind of in the same boat here. A very similar boat.
Hey, Andrew.
And yes, sir.
I hate to throw a wrench into this beautiful plan.
Yes.
But I am echoing every time I talk.
How about now? Are you still echoing?
Let me see.
I'm curious if you are still echoing. Oh, I know why. I know exactly why you are echoing. So Skype.
I'm so glad.
I'm
so glad you know why.
So Skype does this new thing where they decide that they have to do an update every single day before the show. That's fine.
Sure.
But when they do the update, they change my sound card for who knows what reason to line in on the Black Magic card, the capture card.
Right.
So now I guarantee you're not going to echo, right?
Oh, that sounds different.
You don't echo anymore, right?
That's weird because I can see my mouth moving in the video, but I can't hear myself. But that's fine.
That's fine. You're okay with this?
Yep.
Yeah, because this is normal.
Okay.
This is very normal. So Skype has decided that it no longer likes my my sound card.
Sure.
Which is bizarre. Guys, a lot to talk about today. I do want to touch on the iPhone stuff a little bit, but I have a lot of I was listening to Windows Weekly yesterday, and it was a good, phenomenal podcast. You guys did a great job yesterday. I really enjoyed the show. And you had a very interesting conversation about Surface devices and the future of Surface that I want to kind of touch on that.
Okay. Yep.
I definitely want to go into that. But before we do, Paul, before we go into all of this, I want to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, and that is Pitney Bowes, SendPro by Pitney Bowes. Guys, my wife has gotten into this crazy thing of selling everything. She is literally selling everything that we own. And it's really, really fascinating how people will buy everything. So she puts all these ads on Facebook and Craigslist, and she just ships it off. Very easy. And unfortunately, it's a little complicated when you have to do different measurements and different things like that. But because of SendPro, it's made our life a whole lot easier. pb.com/GFQ. You could go there right now. SendPro from Pitney Bowes. SendPro has 3 times the features of Stamps.com at 1/3 of the price. Visit pb.com/GFQ to learn more and try it for free for 90 days. After that, you'll get SendPro for just $5 per month. They print your label. You can print your labels, USPS, UPS, and the other guys. They also negotiate special rates for SendPro users, so it's actually very cheap. Savings start at just 3 cents per stamp. Also with shipping, they have great rates on shipping as well. It just makes life so much easier. That's pb.com/GFQ. Go there to learn more, and when you sign up, you'll get SendPro free for 90 days. I want to thank SendPro for supporting the show. You want to touch on this iPhone stuff?
Sure.
Okay. So, a lot of controversy over last week's announcement, right? A lot of people are not very happy with it, or some people really like it. A lot of it was probably the most volatile iPhone announcement that I've like as far as feedback goes.
Yeah, yeah.
And even the companies that are very pro Apple. Listen, I'm an iPhone user. I'm an iPad user. I'm a Mac user, but I'm also an Android user and I'm a PC user. So
Sure.
I have no bias. I don't care about the companies. I just want what works. I have zero loyalty to any brand. If it does the job, it works for me.
Yep.
This was fascinating because people that have been long-time Apple supporters unapologetically have kind of turned. A lot of people that I know have kind of turned, and they feel like this is like a Frankenstein moment for Apple.
So what's the problem? Like what's the thing to put people over the edge?
So you know what this almost feels like? Do you remember when they changed iOS? And people lost their minds, and they lost their freaking minds about the UI and how much they hated it and everything. I really feel like this is like one of those moments, but with hardware. A lot of people don't want the face recognition. Because, and these are educated people. These are people that kind of know, and they're going into this thinking this is not going to work as well as Apple thinks, and we don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's one that we don't know. Two, the camera. A lot of people feel gypped on the fact that the iPhone 8 is essentially an iPhone 7, and the iPhone 7 is essentially an iPhone 6, and the iPhone 10 is like this weird, bizarre device that shouldn't exist. If that makes sense.
Well, the iPhone 10 is essentially an iPhone 8, right? I mean, it just has a different body style. There are a few differences between those two devices. There are a few. But internally and in most of the capabilities of the camera and so forth, they're basically identical. There are some differences, but they're very close.
So I don't know what to make of this. This is the first time that Apple's, in a long time for me.
I don't know. We've seen little things like this, right? Like, I think the fundamental difference this time is that when Apple, like the first time that Apple announced two iPhones at once was with the iPhone 5S and the 5C, right? And I think people were okay with that because what they were adding at that time was a lower cost version of the iPhone, although it wasn't that much lower cost. Remember, the iPhone 5C was actually pretty expensive, but it gave you like color options if you wanted that kind of thing. And obviously not that many people did. It only lasted for 1 year, but they got rid of that eventually. The next year when they did the iPhone 6, there was some controversy because remember, that was kind of a bland body style. It's the one we still use right through the 8. And they got rid of the iconic iPhone 4 style body with the looked like a Leica camera, like the hard edged, antenna on the outside kind of design. And in fact, the backlash to that was so severe that a couple of years later they came up with the iPhone SE to kind of silence the critics, right? And they also remembered they bumped up screen sizes a little bit too. So I think this time is different because the phones that we've typically thought of as the flagships are announced like they're always announced. And we knew this iPhone 10 thing was happening too. But now there's this luxury item. And so I sort of think of it like car manufacturers, this is like when Toyota made Lexus, right? So you can get a really high-end Toyota, Avalon or Camry or whatever it is. And you can spend a lot of money on it. And it's a nice car, but it's not a Lexus,
Yeah.
And this is sort of, the iPhone 10 is sort of them making a Lexus, for the iPhone series. And I think for the people who have come in kind of moving up the chain from, most people probably skipped one, but let's say from iPhone 6 to 7 to 8, now they're like, what's going on here? Now the thing that I've been buying, which is always the best, isn't the best anymore. What do I do? And of course, they don't even make the other one available. And so there's this moment of indecision where it's like, well, do I buy the one I can get right away, or do I wait a month and a half, or, how do I handle it? And then, like you said, there are questions. We don't know if facial recognition is going to work well. Everyone who has ever used facial recognition is thinking this is not going to work well because it never works well. But you never know. It's Apple, right? I mean, they tend not to do things until they can get it right. So it's I think it's just uncertainty that's the problem. I think Apple has always made it very easy in the past. If you wanted the best one, you got the best one.
Yeah.
This time, if you want the best one, you're like, oh boy, because it's not actually the best one in some ways, is it?
Yeah.
Listen, if that thing had a Touch ID too, there'd be a lot less of a question.
Well, they tried Touch ID.
I think so. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And they couldn't get it. They wanted it under the display, and they couldn't get it. My friend John Prosser put out a really honest reaction to the iPhone. I want to give him some credit. Front Page Tech put out a very interesting video. I actually really enjoyed the video and how much he hates the iPhone, which it's a good perspective to see.
Okay. I mean, listen, I don't hate the iPhone.
I don't either. And you know what? I'm getting it.
Years. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to get it.
It's an open question whether I bother this year. I think I could make a compelling case for not buying one this time. I have devices on which I can test iOS. I have an iPhone 7 Plus. I have an iPad Pro. It's not necessary. And they're expensive, especially, I'm switching to Android and spending $1,000 on a phone that I'm going to kind of use part-time.
Yeah.
You've met my wife. I want you to imagine that conversation. It's
I imagine I can see her face right now, actually. I could picture it.
She would if I just said what I said to you, she would look at me blankly for like 10 seconds and then she would just walk away.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
To go for a run.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it for my job, but
I'm
curious
to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I got a email from them, from Verizon. Actually, by them I mean Verizon, not Apple.
Sure.
And because I have a business phone, I get pre-order earlier.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know that, so I get to pre-order it early, which is nice, and they'll deliver it to me. They'll bring it to me the day of.
I mean, so I'm in the iPhone upgrade program, and before the iPhone 8 became available, they emailed everyone and said, "Okay, get ready. You can do this, and you can swap out your phone from home now. You don't even have to go to a store, which is kind of neat." And I presume that they'll do that for the iPhone 10.
Yeah.
And there's the in right there, right? So in other words, right now I'm paying probably low $30 per month for an iPhone 7 Plus.
So you know what Verizon is doing, which is interesting, and this was in another email that I got. They're allowing you to trade in a multitude of phones.
Right. In other words, right. That's sort of what I was leading
to compromise at the price. They'll drop the price down. So they'll be like, hey,
we say they can't drop the price of the phone, but what they can do is give you these other incentives, right? Yeah. And so no one's going to walk into a store, virtually no one, and hand someone $1,000 and walk out with an iPhone 10. The way you're going to do it is go through the iPhone upgrade program. Now the price goes up to, it's probably going to be like $43.
It's 48. It's 48 something.
48
for the iPhone 10.
Right.
For the iPhone 10.
Yeah.
48.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying. In other words, I think for a lot of people, no one who wants this phone for the most part would ever be able to pay for it. But most of the people who want it are going to hear almost $50 a month and think, maybe,
yeah. And then what
I think
happens?
That's how they're going to get.
So you trade in your iPhone 7. And
that's the other thing.
And it knocks the price down to $38 or whatever, $40.
Except that most people own an iPhone 7 don't own an iPhone 7. Those people are still paying for that. So in other words, you're not actually bumping your price down at all.
So in the email,
if you own the phone, all right, yes. But if you don't, no.
In the email, they are giving for an iPhone 5.
Yep.
They're giving $200. It was a 5 or a 5S. Let me just take that back. It could be a 5S. It could be a 5S.
It's a good
but
deal
it was $200. So $200
you could buy an
off
iPhone. You can buy an iPhone 6 right now for $200.
Yeah. So they're giving you $200 for that. I don't know what they're going to give for a 6 or a 7, but that's how people are going to upgrade. Most people don't need to keep their old phone. That's the reality. If you have an iPhone 6 and now you're getting an iPhone 8 or a 10.
It almost doesn't matter. The point is, in the past, you might have done something different. Maybe you handed it down to your wife or to a child or to another relative or whatever it was. This time, you're looking at this thing and you're thinking, man, this is $1,000.
Yeah.
How am I going to make this work?
Yeah.
And then you find out, well, actually, we can give you $200 or $300 or whatever it might be for the phone you already have. Oh, well, that's how we afford it, because now that phone is actually less expensive than the one you were paying for.
One of my friends, he was asking me, he goes, he has an iPhone 7. And he goes, do you think I should get it? He's like, to be honest, I just want to get something new. I go, you know what you should get? And I was so honest about this. I go, you want to get something new? I go, get one of these. Get an iPad Pro, okay? And I'll tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is going to segue right into the next conversation.
Okay.
iOS 11 has made this thing way more functional.
Okay.
It's the iOS update, the iOS 11 update. It's okay for the iPhone. It's not. You're not going to really see a lot of it.
No, it's not that much.
But
there,
for the iPad, it's a tremendous upgrade. they've added a lot of stuff that I'm using every day, like a file explorer.
That's amazing.
Okay, I have the keyboard. I have a file explorer. I do picture-in-picture mode when I'm doing stuff. I'm able to kind of multitask in this weird, bizarro world of iOS. I'm using it a lot more now in the last couple of weeks.
But rather than just buy something new for the sake of buying something new.
That's what he said. He just wants to buy something new.
I know, but if someone is really into iPhone and they want a new iPhone every year, there's a system for that. And they can get it through a carrier or they can get it through Apple. And you just go into the store, you do it virtually now online, and they'll send you the new phone. You send the old one back. That's it. Your payment will go up or down depending on which phone you choose.
Yeah.
And you just keep going. Now, at some point, the bill's going to come due because every time you do it, like if I had chosen to go with an iPhone 8 last week, or if I choose next month to go to an iPhone 10, I've just reset the clock another 2 years, right? In other words, right now, I am 1 year away from paying this thing off, right? So if you do the math on that, like I said, it was, let's say $33 off the top of my head times 12 it's about $400. So if I had $400 in cash, I could pay this bill and not have an iPhone bill. Or I could send the iPhone back to Apple and get a new iPhone. But then I have 2 more years of payments, not 1 more year. You know, most people are going to choose the 2-year thing. I really think this is the genius of this. I don't want to call it a scam. It's a great idea.
I think the genius also, like Nikki in the chat room says, Apple Care's $6 per month included. It's mandatory now. It's mandatory.
No, that's right. That's included into the number I just.
So if you want to get a new swap out every year, you can, and you just pay the difference, I guess. And you know what? That is the greatest. I know what you mean by scam, but it's not. You know what I mean?
No, I really didn't mean scam.
And by the way, Samsung's doing the same thing now, which Samsung is a little bizarre with the way that they do it because you can't do it through Verizon, but if you buy it through the Samsung website, which I don't know who buys Samsung phones through the Samsung website, you could do it through there.
Right.
Have you ever bought anything from Samsung.com? Never.
By the way, I did buy something through Samsung one time, not through their website, although, no, that's not true. I did. I bought the Samsung Galaxy S8 directly from Samsung right when it first came out. In fact, here's a little tip for people, and this is true whether you're buying a Samsung or an Apple. If you want, almost certainly do want the completely unlocked, works on every network version of that device. If that's true, you cannot buy it on day one. Because if you go to apple.com right now and try to buy an iPhone 8, you have to tie it to a carrier. You don't want that version. You don't want that version. One of the things I just discovered, this iPhone, when I bought it last year, was tied to AT&T. Now, I buy it from Apple, so it shouldn't be locked.
Yeah.
But it is locked. That's how they sell them.
So wait, AT&T, T-Mobile are locked, but not Verizon.
Okay, that's just a Verizon policy. I'm just talking in general.
Yeah.
So that's Verizon's. By the way, whatever. That's a Verizon thing. That's specific to Verizon. It's because they don't actually use SIMs on their own networks or whatever. But the Verizon one's a little special. But the AT&T version is actually tied to AT&T. So literally within the past 30 days, I sent in a little support request to AT&T and I said, unlock my phone. And they did, because when they look at it on their system, they don't know that I'm paying for it, right? That I don't own it, because I own it outright to them. I brought it into their system. So they don't actually, legally, they have to unlock it. But the thing is, it is unlocked. It is locked, I should say. I'm sorry, when it comes to you. So the Samsung that I bought, to bring this story full circle, when I bought that, when it first came out, I ordered it immediately. I remember thinking it was a little odd, like I have to choose the carrier, and I was like, I don't understand. I just want the GSM unlocked version. That was not available on day one. But if you were to go to Samsung.com today, I bet it is available today. And I know they made it available later.
So here's a question for you. I'm going to present this question for you, okay? So I'm going to get the iPhone 10 through my job, which will be great because I don't have to pay for it. But I have a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. And I have to tell you, it was probably one of the worst Android phones that I've had.
Okay.
I've had a multitude of problems with this thing. It's been endless. And for whatever reason, the performance on this phone, and I haven't really I don't have much on this thing. The performance is, there's nothing. I mean, it takes me, when I reset the phone, it takes me like a good 3 minutes to be able to launch an application. And this is with cleaning out stuff. I mean, mine could be very. It could be a problem that's just affecting my phone. Something could have happened with mine, but whatever it is, I've had a terrible experience with this. Where my Samsung S6, which I have right here, this phone is still an unbelievable phone. Like it works perfectly fine. It feels better than the S7. So
what are you working toward here, Andrew?
So I hate this phone and I need a new one.
Yep.
Okay. So now I'm in the position of what do I get on the Android side?
On the Android side.
So do I get the Note 8? Do I wait for the Pixel 2? Everybody's telling me to check out the LG, the new LG that's coming out. What is it? The V30?
10 or 11.
V whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever it is. I can't keep track.
I don't. It's become so competitive, and it's become the Android market seems to have way more options than it did even 2 years ago.
Way more good options.
Way more, like, very good options.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in this weird limbo where I don't know what to get. Do I wait for the Pixel or do I just get a Note 8?
You wait for the Pixel, and then you probably do get a Note 8. But, I would wait and see what it is. Actually have them announce it, make the case. See what the reviews look like. I'm in a similar position. And, in fact, I was sort of vaguely just... If this phone that I had, the Pixel XL, was a 128 gig version, I'd probably stick with it. It's the storage that's killing me. I really by cheaping out, and it was not inexpensive.
So what's affecting the storage? The photos that you're taking or applications?
Yeah, both. Yeah. And content. Like on my iPhone where I have 128 gig, I download lots of music, podcasts, audiobooks, all the photos, obviously, and then the apps. I can do all that stuff with abandon. With 32 gigs, you got to micromanage it, and that's like old school. I don't like having to hover over it. I go into my podcast app and make sure things are deleted. And, I have them set up to delete when I'm listening. When they're listened to, I can only download 2 episodes of each of the few that I actually do allow to download. Mm-hmm. It's stupid. On the iPhone, I'm like, yeah, just download it all. Who cares? So yeah, I blew it there. But the new Pixels are going to be expensive, and
$800, right?
$949 for the one I want.
For the bigger one, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just can't even justify that. I don't know what to say. I might justify it by saying, well, I'm not going to get an iPhone, so there's $1,000 of savings, and I'll put this on. I have the Google financing thing, which is 0% on the phone. I guess I'll spread it out over 2 years again. Great. Yeah. And I did that with the original Pixel. I paid it off early because I don't like having the bill. But I don't have a lot of money. The truth is, we moved. We have no money. We're doing all these repairs on the house. That's everything we own is tied up.
Listen, I 2 kids. 2 kids. Construction in the house. I gotta trade in this car. That's how it is.
I drive a 10-year-old car, Andrew.
I know. I don't drive at all. I take the train.
Oh no, I don't drive either. It sits in my garage. But it's insured at great cost. Let me tell you.
I'm actually buying a car today. I'm buying. My friend Dara, the skinny pig. Yeah. If you guys are into food and food bloggers and food Instagram, check out the skinny pig, Skinny Pig NYC, Skinny Pig on Instagram. So she has a '98 Prelude, Honda Prelude, with like 40,000 miles on it, and I'm buying it today. I'm going to her mom's house and I'm going to buy the car and tow it tomorrow.
I could afford a Hot Wheels version of that car.
No, you could probably afford this car. I'm paying under $1,000 for it, so
that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're paying like one iPhone for it?
I'm paying one iPhone 8.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Think about that.
Sure.
Let's all think about that for a second. I do want to talk about the Nvidia lineup which you have it on therot.com for Android streaming boxes, which this looks really interesting. Actually, I'm supposed to get one. It never showed up.
So it's so interesting.
Weird.
I just
remember.
Oh, so you want to do an ad first, though, right?
Yeah, yes. There you go. You figured it out, Paul.
Yep.
You figured me out so well. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. I want to talk about Harry's before we go into this. Get your free trial set, including a razor handle, 5-blade cartridge, and shaving gel by going to harrys.com/whatthetech. I have my Harry's. I just gave one away. Paul, I'm running low on supply here. I've given so many of these. People must hate me at this point, but I've given away. So here's a Harry's set if you see it. It's a beautiful set. And you can sign up for the trial set, which is amazing. by going to harrys.com/whatthetech. You get the free trial set. All you have to do is pay for the shipping, and that's it. I told you guys this over and over again, how great Harry's razors are. They last. The quality and the craftsmanship is great, and you could sign up for a free trial set. You just pay the shipping by go to harrys.com/whatthetech. Let's talk about these Android boxes.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have talked about Android TV over the years and how it's one of those Android things that's never kind of taken off. A little bit like Android Wear. Like you'd think that the Android community would kind of embrace this platform that was like Apple TV for Android, and it's really kind of never happened.
Were we doing the show when the Logitech one came out, the first Google TV?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And
it could be.
We were so excited. I was definitely excited for this thing. I
always thought this would be huge. You know,
Yeah.
I've owned a few of them. In fact, I still have two of them in my house right now. I have that old Sony Smart TV that was based on Android TV.
I don't want to watch Android TV.
Yeah, you don't want Android TV.
No.
And I also have the Mi Box, which is an Android TV that does 4K and I think HD. I think it might just be 4K.
Okay, that Mi Box. That's what I was going to ask you. Is it like an official Google device, or like is it? No,
this isn't like a Chinese knockoff.
Okay.
It's a real thing.
Okay.
The issue with it is that, well, the thing I really like about it is if you get an Android TV device of any kind, it will come with a hardware remote, and that's what you want. You want a remote control. In other words, you can cast from a phone. That's fine. But when you want to interrupt the thing and pause it and whatever, it's so much more convenient to have an actual remote with buttons.
Yeah.
And so I actually don't like the interface on the Mi Box at all. I don't like how you can't customize it very much. But it's got a remote, and so I kind of keep it on there on the TV, and I don't really use it that much, frankly. This morning, though, Nvidia announced a new version of the Shield. I believe that the hardware is actually exactly the same as the one they're already selling. It's a very highly regarded Android TV device. It's also used as a gaming console.
People that love it, absolutely. Like, I know a couple people that have it. They
evangelize
love
it. It's like a TiVo kind of thing almost. So I guess basically what they did was they took the normal 16 gig version and took away the game controller.
Interesting.
So 4K, HDR, Google Cast / Chromecast compatible, obviously. Nice hardware remote, nice looking box. Same exact price as Apple TV 4K, right? So smart. So I wrote that thing up today, and after I'd written it up, and they didn't even realize that they had contacted me to say, hey, we released this thing. So I wrote them back, and I said, well, I'd like to review this actually if it's possible. So I'm going to see if that can happen. But I am intrigued by this because, for the same reason I wanted the Mi Box, and I still keep it even though it's not ideal. 4K and HDR, Android TV, so super, compatible with everything, and does that casting thing. If you want to do content casting over Google Cast, music or video, it's there. So it functions that way too. You don't have to have a redundant device on there. So we'll see. I'm getting an Apple TV tomorrow, and maybe I'll get this, and then we can put these things head to head and see how it goes.
I am going to do the. I need to get a 4K TV first.
Yeah.
Before I do anything. I really that's the next move, and unfortunately for me, so Jessica a couple of years ago had bought a Samsung 65-inch Samsung for the bedroom. I think you saw it. I think I showed it to you. Did I give you? You might have seen it. It's gigantic, this freaking thing.
Yeah.
But it's it was one of those like Black Friday deals, and the display sucks. It's terrible. Like I could see the pixels from my bed. And that's not good, it's not a good display. So for the living room, when it was time to replace my plasma, I got a Vizio, which was half the price of this TV, and 60-inch, and it's unbelievable. I paid like $500 for this beautiful giant 1080p TV, but now we're in 4K. Everybody, that's if I watch a lot of TV and movies. We do like movie nights here. It's time to get a 4K TV. So I don't know where to go with this because 1080 was so much easier, right? It was like, okay, it's a 1080 TV. It has smart casting. It has whatever. It has smart applications. And you just pay based on that. You're paying for like the feature because 1080 was 1080 at that point. Now you have 4K. What kind of 4K? HDR. What kind of HDR?
Sure.
The backlighting. How much backlighting does it have? So it's a little bit more complex than the previous purchase that I did. So I think over the next week or so, we might like do something where the viewers pick what TV I get, and I'll give a budget.
Yeah.
I'll give like a budget of like $1,200.
Yep, you might want to wait for Black Friday.
Maybe I want to wait for Black Friday.
You know?
Yeah. So this is interesting. I'm curious to see what you think when you get your hands on this, the Nvidia, because a lot of people like it's fanatical almost. The comments that I get.
I mean, yeah, people love it, but I got to say, you know, the UI on that Mi Box is it's infuriating. Like I really don't like it, and so I don't use it directly where you sit there and go around the UI and select stuff. If I use it like a Chromecast, and then I can control the playback with the remote, which is great. But I'm hoping that the Nvidia device, the Shield, has a better UI, or at least one you can customize a little bit better, because there are entire chunks of it on the Mi Box where you can't remove these superfluous, useless suggestions or whatever they are, and it's like I just don't want that stuff front and center every time I turn on the TV. You know.
Someone says in our Twitch chat room, because we're streaming on Twitch now, they said the TCL P607 or Vizio M series, both are pretty reasonable, between $600 to $700. I just bought my father that TCL, and it's great, phenomenal TV. So I want to go into the meat and potatoes of this show, and what people have been asking to hear about, and that is your hands-on with the Xbox One X. Oh.
Yeah, I went to. Well, you remember I was.
You were here.
I was in New York last week.
Yeah,
and that was to go to an Xbox showcase, and I have been invited to a couple of Xbox events this year where I could have seen the Xbox One X, and I ended up not going for a variety of reasons to the other events like E3. So this was my first chance to actually touch the thing and use the thing and play games on it. You know, see how games. Have been enhanced for it, right? Which many have, 130 now. And you know, it's pretty awesome. And there's a lot of controversy in the video game space right now over Xbox and what Microsoft is doing, and how they have a kind of a scalable platform now, which goes from the original Xbox One up through the S, and which has additional capabilities around HDR and video, and then to the X, which has additional capabilities around 4K and HDR for video games, and tremendous advancements in performance. And then, of course, the cross-platform stuff with Windows, which people are still freaked out by for some reason. I think that what Microsoft is doing is brilliant, and I think that this console is the right answer. And it's not my opinion. It has been borne out by testing that this thing is far more powerful than the Sony equivalent, which is the PlayStation 4 Pro. So, you know, we'll see. I'll get one in for a review, and I will review it. I'll play a bunch of games on it. But I had my first experiences the other day. So I played Forza, the new Forza on there, which is incredible. It's always a visual showcase.
Did you notice, like, would you say that there was a tremendous difference between the previous, you know, what you have currently and the Xbox
actually,
One?
No. So to be fair, there's something about Forza, like, it's always been this crazy visual showcase. It's always been amazing. They'll have the type of thing where it's like rain effects, and it looks like the rain's dripping off the glass that is actually your monitor or the display you're using. And it's just a really impressive thing. Now, the difference in this game is they have things like, well, first of all, you know, literally 4K graphics. Okay, 60 frames a second consistently through the game. To my eyes, was it a lot better than whatever the previous Forza on Xbox One S? No, actually. But there's this other stuff going on, right? So faster load times, that kind of stuff is crucial. Forza it's a big game. And so just the process of loading a race sometimes takes a long time on an existing Xbox. The other thing is, like, I think this probably isn't the right term, but it's like 360-degree audio. And so if you think about any game, if it's a shooter, and you can tell that sounds are coming from different directions, that's key. And in a racing game, you can kind of imagine having all that stuff around you is really cool. And one of the things they've added to the platform, and it's available in Windows 10, it's available on the Xbox One X, is a simulated effect. It's Dolby Atmos is the sound, which, by the way, is something you're also going to want for your HD TV, or your 4K TV, sorry, is simulated Dolby Atmos over headphones. And that's great because that means anyone can get that without investing in this expensive stereo system, right? So I did not test the headphone, but I do have it on Windows 10, so I have an idea of what it can be like. But it is that's a tremendous capability as well. The other thing that's kind of neat about it is there are games I'm familiar with, like Rise of the Tomb Raider is one, Gears of War 4 is one, Quantum Break is one. I'm trying to think what else, if there were any others there. Those are the ones I can think of at the time. Now, those are games I've actually spent significant amounts of time with. In fact, in the case of Gears of War 4, I actually finished the game. So I was able to play those games. Now, those are existing Xbox One games that have been enhanced for Xbox One X, meaning that the graphic fidelity is better, the textures are more, high resolution, the sound has been upgraded, whatever it is. And each of those games was noticeably better looking.
Interesting.
On the Xbox One X. And so that was very cool. And then there was stuff unrelated to Xbox One X, the controllers, the new console bundles, like I saw the Minecraft bundle, the other new games, like I played Cuphead, which is an eagerly awaited title on Xbox. We went for this one for 2 years, or the new Assassin's Creed game, which I played on Xbox One S, not on X. But I probably spent 30 minutes just playing that game. It was fantastic. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening this fall. The Xbox One X to me is in the middle of it. And that's the big news for sure. But I think this is, I don't mean like, look out Sony, Microsoft has your number. I mean, I don't know how Microsoft recovers from, the sales gap at this point per se. But if you actually care about games and gameplay and the best graphics and all that kind of stuff and can't afford a $3,000 gaming PC, this is the obvious choice. Like it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's. I'm very interested in that device and the flexibility. I think, is there a path for the next Xbox after this, or is this going to be the one for now for the next 3 years or so? And we're not. This is it for the next X amount of years, and then they're just going to be updating it.
That is a good question. I don't know.
I mean, you really can't defend a yearly update on this thing, right?
No. There's not going to be yearly updates. I mean, it is kind of strange that Xbox One S happened last year and now we get this one. But, if you think back to the original Xbox One, which I believe came out in 2013, that feels forever ago. But let's say 4 years, you can imagine 3 to 4 years down the line, them doing another rev, right? And, advancing the performance yet again, where the value proposition at that point will probably be true 4K graphics at 60 frames per second in more game types, right? Because the way they handle it right now is the way Sony handles it, frankly. They just don't have as much power to work with. Is you can, as a developer, can make choices. You can say, look, I want a consistent 60 frames per second. And if it's a fast-moving action game with lots of on-screen elements, you might say, well, that means I'm not going to be running at 2160p. I'm going to be running at 1440p or 1080p or something like that sometimes, or all the times, whatever it is. So I think that's probably the next logical step. But again, you're creating this situation which Apple used to do with their iPhones, where it's not necessary for the person who owns the previous one to upgrade, but the one who owns the one before that, that's where it starts to get interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So. Do they have an idea of how many they want to sell of this?
No,
like projected goals,
never,
like a projected number.
They would never say anything like that. No.
I'm curious to see what the holiday sales would be on this.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think by the time the holidays are over, the volume seller is going to be the Xbox One S. And the reason there is because it's a solid console. The price is right. Those things are super cheap. I bet you'll be getting those in the $200 range over Christmas. And all the games are compatible. This thing is, you're investing in the ecosystem, right? It's like the beauty of going to the Apple TV 4K is, I've heard from people who bought several hundred movies from Apple, and now they're like, look, they're going to upgrade all of my content to 4K for free.
Yeah.
Spending $180 on a box is a no-brainer. And that's kind of what the Xbox value prop is today. You can buy whichever version of the console you can afford, play the games. They'll look great no matter which version it's on. But at the point when you want to go 4K HDR and you have all that stuff, that console purchase becomes a no-brainer because everything you own is coming over. Everything.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it's really smart.
Let's take a moment to talk about Patreon. Guys, if you like the show, if you want to support the show, you want to continue growing the show, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/whatthetech. That's patreon.com/whatthetech. You can go there, fund us as little as $1 per show, and you get access to the bonus material. And regardless of that, you help the show out each and every week. I just cut Paul a check today. Paul, did you check your PayPal? You can't hear me. He turned his mute off. He turned his mic off. Patreon.com/whatthetech. You go fund us there. Very easy. Paul, Google Wi-Fi. I want to talk about this because I saw that you got one, and I want your opinion on this. I did not read the article. So I just saw that you could buy this on Amazon, which I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I think they've come to some kind of an agreement.
Oh, thank God. Because I know that they were banned for a while. The Amazon decided that this and the Apple products were not something that they wanted. They didn't want the Apple TV on there. So now you could get it. But $119, I think you could get as little as low as $90.
It could be.
For the Wi-Fi. I saw it somewhere. I don't know if Walmart is selling it for $90 or one of them is. But $119 on Amazon and $269 for the 3-pack.
The 3-pack. Yeah.
Is this worth it?
Yeah, the story I always tell about this is that in the old house, which was considerably smaller than where I am now, the Wi-Fi adapter, which was the router, it was from Fios. It was at one corner. Yeah. Was at one corner of the brick that we lived in. And if you were in the far corners of the house, which my wife was in her office or my son was down in his room with his video game stuff, the Wi-Fi signal was not non-existent, but it was useless. So what we had to do was kind of half-acidly get wired networking through the house, which we did in a kind of a piecemeal fashion. We never did it properly. But we did have wires, and so it worked. We got 1,000, a gigabit or whatever. In a couple of rooms in the house. So coming here with this place was humongous, compared to where we were before. I was like, well, we got to do something different. And that different means either properly wiring this entire place for, wired connectivity.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's probably expensive, but it's not ideal. Like you still need wireless, right? Yeah. So thinking like, for right now, the router is in fact right over here. And so if you go down to the far corner of the house, which is a much longer distance than it was in the old house, where my daughter is, she still needs, her iPhone to work and her smart TV or whatever it is.
So we're using just one router before? Was your entire network, your wireless on one? Okay, wow, that's actually...
For the most part.
And it was in your office?
Yeah, a couple of times we did wireless. I extended the wireless network with some Apple devices at one time. I experimented with power plug networking, I think it was called at one time, which wasn't very good back then, although I understand it's much better now. But when it came time for this, I said, well, we got to do something different. I know mesh networks are a big thing. And so I kind of investigated that and found that, at least according to reviews and what I'd read, that the Google one was a good price, super easy to use, great connectivity, reliability, et cetera. So I took a chance on that one. And I'm doing a lot of Google stuff anyway. We're doing Google Home, Google Assistant, Chromecast for audio.
Yeah.
Around the house to speakers and stuff. So I thought, we'll go all Google. It'll be fine. And I got to say, honestly, it's probably exceeded my expectations.
Okay,
I mean, the connectivity has been rock solid.
What about it makes it easy? Is it just plug and play?
Yeah. So it's all smartphone based. You basically run a wizard in the app, and it says, okay, we'll plug in the first one. Okay, good, I found it. Give it a name. Tell me where it is. Do you have any more to add? You say yes. So let's go plug in the second one. And okay, and where is it? And let's make sure it's positioned correctly. What's the network throughput look like? Okay, this is a good position. Let's do the third one. Yep. Okay, everything's great. And then that's it. So I've got one, on the first floor of the house, one on the second floor on the far end of the house, and one in the basement, kind of midway through the house. And you don't have to worry about what connects to what. It just kind of works automatically. You can monitor it from far. I checked Barcelona. Yep, Thurrott is online from, Barcelona to Emmaus, no problem.
Very nice.
It's never gone down. It's never hiccuped. It's never had issues.
Is there any drop in speed at all?
No. So that's the other thing that I've
latency?
done. No. So on laptops and on phones, I have gone around the home to the far corners and to different rooms and done the network speed test. And what does this look like? Yeah. And what it looks like is unbelievably good everywhere. Like it literally, there might be a 5% difference maybe in certain rooms, certain places, maybe. But honestly, it's super consistent. It's so consistent that for the first time ever since we moved to Dedham in 1999, since at least then, I haven't had wired anything. Like the computer I'm doing this from,
wow,
my main workstation or whatever, is not wired to anything. Well, to electricity, but it's not wired to the network, right? It's actually just all wireless. I mean, I've never done that before. It's fine.
Very interested in that because I don't know what happened. I have those crappy I have those crappy FiOS boxes for the and I have multiple networks in the house. So the way that it works,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
one network for all of this. I have 150 by 150, and then I have another 150 for the house. So I don't like to mix the networks.
Sure.
And they both, they're right here behind me. They're the brand new FiOS, whatever. They're not Action Techs anymore. There's something else. I forgot what the brand is.
I think it is Action Tech, but I had the same thing.
They changed it. It's a different company now, maybe. I don't know. Whatever it is, it could be. So whatever that new one is, it was fine. It's wireless AC, and it's fine, everything. But they're so crappy. The nap pool gets filled. There's a lot of things happening.
The web interface is ridiculously
bad. The web interface
bad.
is terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Yep.
It's absolutely terrible. Like by the way,
so
fine. It was just fine for a while.
You're stuck in some ways, though, right? Because
I am stuck. Yeah.
When you have FiOS, you have to still use their router. You could augment it with a different router, but you still have to use their router if you want to do things like on demand or whatever. You need that box. So you can do stuff, but it makes it even more complicated. Like one of the things I was able to do here, I wasn't super excited about going to RCN or to cable modem, but one of the nice things about the service was I just got internet. Like we don't have phones, we don't have cable TV or anything, and they will for $10 a month give you some kind of like a wireless router capability. And I'm like, nope, you just pop Google Wi-Fi onto the end of it, and that's it. And it's part of the simplicity of it. Like it's just pure IP based everything,
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if the Google thing would work for me. The wireless, right. Because I already have an issue here. So essentially what's happened here is that it was fine upstairs. It worked. And then all of a sudden one day, just doesn't, I have no, I got to check it again. Maybe I should redo the whole thing, but I have no service upstairs. I have no Wi-Fi at all in my bedroom. Zero. It just overnight, it just stopped working one day. And I can't even go in my kitchen without having a disruption in the Wi-Fi. So maybe something like this is good. I don't know if the Google Wi-Fi thing is the way to go for me. If there could be something else that I could do, I would rather set that, I could do that.
So,
but the simplicity of this thing is the interesting part.
Yeah. And like there are really technical people who will recommend really technical products to you that are maybe offer even better bandwidth or whatever they do in advanced capabilities that maybe you do or do not need. I don't know. But I knew like this is my family connects to this, and I just wanted simple, and it just works. It's the type of thing I can't even imagine. I don't know what would go wrong with it, but I mean, if my wife could handle this, like it's not, I don't mean she's stupid, she's smarter than I am, but I mean, she doesn't care about the computer stuff or whatever, so she could handle it. Like it's it's super friendly and really easy. She could have set it up. Like anyone could.
That's great.
It's nice. Yeah, it really is nice.
I quickly want to follow up on the Surface conversation you had on Windows Weekly.
Okay.
Because it was a very good conversation. I thought it was a very good show last week. I want to talk about this because of the sheer amount of devices that they have right now.
Yeah.
And where they stand and what the future of some of these devices are. Just wanted to get your opinion of this.
Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's like an opinion because obviously they're not saying anything. And so some of the theories right now are that we've pretty much seen it for the year. They had been doing October launches since the beginning, since 2012. They will technically launch something in October, but it's the device they already announced. It's just a Surface Pro with LTE. Nothing all that exciting. But you have to kind of wonder, there's some things coming along like Windows 10 on ARM. There's an architecture change that they are overdue in implementing where they move to Thunderbolt 3 and USB-C connectors for power and for expansion. There are a multitude of product lines that need to be updated or put out to pasture, Surface Book, Surface Studio, Surface Hub. What about a Surface Studio screen everyone's been talking about? What about this coming Andromeda device, which is like not quite Windows Mobile, but not quite Windows 10? How do all these things fit together? Is Surface Laptop popular enough that they don't need Surface Book anymore? That's an interesting. You could make a case for that.
Do you need a Surface? I mean, what is a Surface Book? Who is it catered to at this point? I get the Surface
You know what it
Pro.
is?
I get it, right?
It's a portable workstation, even though it technically doesn't have those kind of specs. That's what it could evolve into. where the Surface laptop is your mainstream laptop, and this thing is the beefier machine with a GPU and probably better specs for PCIe SSD and whatever else. Quad core processors, blah blah blah, however you want to say it, but more expensive, more capable. I actually think they could just get rid of it. I don't. They don't sell them. It's not particularly popular. It's just too expensive.
They're clunky. But they're a little clunky.
It's unreliable because of the screen that detaches. That's the big problem today. Still, I think the Surface laptop is a little bit of a comeuppance because this is a device they developed years ago. Didn't want to sell because it wasn't particularly innovative. And I think it's going to be their best-selling product. And they've been pushing this 2-in-1 thing for 5 years now. And I think what we're going to find out is people just want a laptop.
Yeah.
They don't want all the screwy transforming blah 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 whatever. They just want a laptop.
There's going to be a segment of the PC market that's going to want it. But you're right. The majority of people, if they're buying a laptop, they're buying a laptop. They're buying a tablet, they're buying a tablet. The Surface Pro serves a specific need. For certain people, but you don't need 3 versions. Have one laptop and have one convertible or whatever you're going to call it. Detachable, whatever it is. I'm curious to see what this lineup, because where do they go? They already have the all-in-one, right? The very expensive all-in-one.
Well, one thing they could do is the all-in-one is very expensive, right? So it's not so much that the screen would be inexpensive, but offering a screen to people already on a PC, I think, would be smart. There's been a lot of call for that. Offering a smaller version of the screen, which would be less expensive, I think would be smart. And that's all they need to do on desktop, right? I mean, that thing needs to be updated. The existing one is laptop parts. It's kind of a beautiful screen that's been let down by its internals. They could fix that. That's easy.
Yeah.
The portable stuff is a little confusing. I mean, the Surface Pro to date has been the best-selling version. It's been copied by every PC maker on Earth. But I think the laptop's going to take that thing's place. And they have this Andromeda thing coming, which is another type of mobile device. I think something has to give, and I think that thing will be Surface Book.
So what is Andromeda? What do we know?
We don't know a lot about it. It's a new mobile platform that's not quite a laptop, not quite a phone. It's something in the middle. It runs on ARM. It's not Windows 10 Mobile. It's sort of Windows 10 on ARM. It's not happening this year. I don't know. But I think the thing that will happen before Andromeda is ARM versions of the Surface laptop and or Surface Pro. Yeah. And they could announce that in December, but I don't think they're going to have it until next spring.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see where they head with the lineup.
Yeah, well, we all are.
Because they definitely need something, right? They need I don't know if this is. I know that the Surface line is their premium. It's a premium device, much like how Apple considers themselves premium devices. But you need an entry level device, right? Isn't it? Yeah. Isn't that how it works? Like you slowly, you give it away a little bit, and then you finally go up. So maybe that ARM device will be the entry device, and then you could go up to either a Surface Pro or a Surface.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
laptop.
Exactly. Yep. Then, although I think there'll be high-end versions of the ARM ones too.
So what's interesting? The new Intel chips, they, from what I was reading, and tell me if I'm wrong, 13-inch and displays now, laptops are going to have a quad core. Mm-hmm. That's a game changer.
No, that's right.
No, that's like
it is. No, you're right. It is. It's basically last year's chips, but quad core.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Yeah,
because I've been in this weird position where, like, I bought this 15-inch, which you like this MacBook, right?
I do. Yeah.
I think it's too big. I think it's way too big for something that's not just sitting on a desk. I take this back and forth into the city every day. Yeah. It's a little too big. This HP here, this is 14 inches and it has a tremendous bezel. Right. If the bezel was gone, because this is the
it's hardened because it's a business class.
Yeah, it's a business class, so that's fine. But this is the exact size. If you want to travel, I mean, this thing is way smaller than this MacBook. But the reason why I ended up going with the 15 inches, because I need a quad core. I'm doing a lot of Photoshop. I'm doing video editing. I need a quad core. I can't just do that dual core, i7 nonsense.
Earlier this year, I reviewed a Dell XPS 15, and that was one of the few PC laptops you could get with a quad core processor. So like the HP version of that, which is like a Spectre X360 15-inch. Great machine, but it still only came with a dual core processor. It's not a gaming machine. It's okay. But the net effect of the Dell was that plus a little bit of DGPU made this thing like a portable workstation. And basically what Intel is enabling is another level of performance across the board. And for those devices like the 15, they're going to have to add a DGPU to differentiate themselves now, because really you're getting like a significant amount of extra performance now just by buying a new version of the chip.
Yeah, I'm very interested in these 13-inch i7s with quad cores.
Yeah,
because that would really it's a major game changer. I mean, it's the first time that we've seen this happen like this, and I
think they had to do something. Like they're years behind moving to 10 nanometers, and they're like, we got to throw everyone a bone here because
they can't. I don't know.
The thing
why.
is, PC makers go to them and they're like, look, what do we got? We got to have something to push here. And I think this is their little interim step. Like, we're going to be behind on the next gen, so let's just do this.
Well, that 10 nanometer roadmap got delayed and delayed and delayed.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? They can't shrink it. It's like with the diode. I mean, I forgot what the exact issue is.
Yeah, it's basically density on the platter, and they can't get to it. So on ARM, they're already there.
That's very interesting. Very, very cool. Paul, how are you been? Good? You're good? Perfect.
It's getting there.
Guys, we're gonna wrap it up, but do you have a meeting?
Yes, I do.
Oh God.
I do.
All right. So I'm gonna hang out for a little bit. I'm gonna do a post show, but I want to remind everybody, if you want to help us out, it's the holiday season's coming up. Use our Amazon link. Go to gfq.co/Amazon and bookmark it. Whenever you make a purchase, we get a small little credit, and it really helps us out. Right now, I need to get another camera here because I'm down to one camera in the studio. And it's not good. I need to redo this lighting because this light doesn't work and that light doesn't work. So I end up buying all this stuff through Amazon, which is amazing. gfq.co/Amazon. You can support us that way. For all things Paul, go to Thurrott.com. Check out his amazing article. By the way, you're the #1 story right now on this Google Wi-Fi. If I just put in Google Wi-Fi in Google News, you're the first story that comes up.
I'm not sure how much of a a moment that is.
But you should be proud of your moment. You should be very.
I only just wrote about it, right? I think it's just because I just wrote about it.
Yeah. You can follow Paul at Thurrott. You can follow me at Andrews Aaron. You can subscribe to us everywhere podcasts are available. Please subscribe. It helps us out. And we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.